So this one we're looking at DNA and resurrection, yes?
Yeah.
Of past species of humanoids.
Yeah.
It's the only way to really say it, isn't it? Humanoids.
Okay.
And there are a lot of bone structures as well. So what was it that someone once said? That scientists are thinking about bringing back dinosaurs, or potentially could bring back dinosaurs.
Yeah, and mammoths as well,
Mammoths
they say.
and different things like that. Now, that's very interesting, but why would you want to do that? Unless you're going to eat it. So it really doesn't make much sense, but it would make more sense to do it from your own. Because it gives you more variations to breed with. Eventually, this pattern tapers out. You think about that, that is an interesting thing. And there is a lot of things to get over with other life forms as well, if you find other life forms. I mean, a lot of them say that something is going to return. Something is going to return. I'm pretty sure in the structures that you've had where everybody walks away from those past structures, no matter how many secrets they held on to, it wasn't enough. Mystery is never really enough. I think that's just a label. I think that we find natural order. And sure, it can be better, a natural order and an order within that natural order. I think that is good, but at the same time, there is natural order everywhere. This natural assembly. Planets know their place, moons know theirs. Not always is it that poetic, but for the most part. If you've seen a few rogue moons go by, not in the immediate time, have you? And even if they have, they've been devoured and it's changed things, X, Y, Z. Now imagine if you could catalogue all of the bones that you find and go on an absolute rampage of bringing these back. It would be two questions, really. Would you bring them back on the Earth? And that's an interesting question to make in itself, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how many races could you bring back? That's the question. Really, it would be a race, wouldn't it? Because many different races have evolved into the main mix, yes? Or perhaps they went extinct through other ways, such as things that we don't want to face. War, battles. How long is this, if people look different or act different, do we subject them to a lot of folly? Think about it. If you're different, people come for you.
Yeah, they do.
And a lot of the time I've heard certain things where people don't understand a certain illness, and they might say to someone, why would you want to breed with that? So if we understand this in genetics, and if we fast forward, I think that in certain circumstances, they say that sickle cell, is that what it's called? Wait, sickle cell?
Yeah.
Would be a problem, yes, in the future. And then you might have the discrepancy against that. So if you had large amounts of population having an issue, why would you want to breed with that? Certain diseases as well. HIV and AIDS I can't remember which one it would be now. AIDS is the killer, HIV is the carrier. Is that right?
Yeah.
One is carrier, one is a sufferer, I believe.
Yeah, human immunodeficiency virus is HIV.
Right, but if you could imagine that amounts of populations get this, and each to their own, this is only what's been discovered. There might be a lot more happening behind the scenes where it just hasn't been identified yet. And there again, would you stigmatize a particular race that's easier to suffer from this as opposed to... And then how do you get past that? What if the whole race managed to get an illness like HIV? Well, let's say AIDS. How do you... And there again, you'd have to understand clusters. We've all got our defects, no matter where we're from, we've all got our defects. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? So, Now, if we were to grow with that sort of narrative and differences, no one likes anything that's different. Let's put more logs on the fire. Let's put more logs on the fire. Let's put even more logs on the fire. And if we go back in the past with this type of mindset, how long it's been around for, how many races have gone extinct because of this? Not because they were... It's a nice poetic way to say it, really, isn't it? That they just got consumed in the DNA strand. But perhaps they had bloodlines that they bred with certain types of individuals, and then before there was a massive battle that wasn't documented very well, maybe it caused a mutiny, and that's what caused people to sort of be, you know what, fuck this. So how many wars and differences have races been annihilated for? And then what about belief systems? That's another one, isn't it? Belief systems. People believed something certain, or perhaps a different type of race and culture that clutched hold of certain things, or perhaps ailments, illness. And yeah, there was something else I was going to talk about with that. But even still, with all of those differences, how many have ever been wiped out because of that particular reason? And then how many have fallen victim to a certain type of suffering, let's say?
Yeah.
To an illness that rose up in a certain area and then wiped out. So we could say plague in that.
Yeah.
How many were different in their way of living as opposed to a belief system? So we could take it that how often back we talk about the plague, I think a plague gets blamed on everything, doesn't it?
On many things, yeah.
Interesting. But it had nothing to do with throwing shit out of a window into small towns, clustering people close together. And this didn't create diseases. And then there was yellow fever, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Which also comes from a wartime event.
Yeah.
How
And
many
cholera.
of these? Yeah, and then even go back further into the past. How cleanly was the planet? And not so much. And then how many were lost in that? Perhaps they won the battle, but perhaps had an illness
Yeah.
that rose up and then wiped them this way. Which is an interesting thing, really, isn't it? So, with that in mind, how many races do you think have been lost? And then if they thought differently, acted a little bit different, how many would then be annihilated in that aspect? Seems impossible, right? But as we go back in time, we got to understand that settlements, and even in this understanding as well, things were smaller.
Yeah.
It would be quite easy, and then we'll understand this when we go even further back to tribal. One tribe wipes out another tribe.
Yeah.
And maybe completely, as opposed to, probably not going to breed with these ones, too different.
Yeah.
Because where does racism come from? Which is tribism would have been back in the day, still a very much factor. You do things that are a little bit different, don't like it.
Yeah.
And are they truly, and again, it sounds like another bedtime story, doesn't it? That they bred with the females, pillage, plunder, and all the rest of it. Rape, pillage, plunder. Is it really true?
They fought for the riches of the area.
And there would be fears
Yeah.
that these would regroup again
Yeah.
and then begin to...
Yeah.
How many have been dumbed down? How many gene pools have been pulled because of perhaps divine sparks, religion?
Yeah.
And then have they slowly but surely picked off a race? So, World War II, not so long ago, was it? And again, we see a particular style. How many times has that gone on through history? How many times has that gone on and been successful throughout history? Now that's an interesting sort of terminology then, isn't it? And then a few thousand years later, a little bit of amnesia and people start looking into the DNA and are like, hang on a minute. But then how do you know that these races existed? You know, we see great big pictures and different things like that, but how do you know that these races existed with a picture? Best guess, yeah?
Yeah.
So there's something. Now what happens if you keep going further back and they start looking a little bit alienoid? Perhaps what you would depict as aliens. I mean, because again, you can unpick by going back. Hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
If there was anything else that was a little bit more different outside of this difference, and we know how we hate differences, don't we? Go on. That's something that seems to happen a lot, doesn't it? And we also see it in reverse, where there might be some sort of killing done either way. So you can see now the populations are very big, and you think that 9 billion, that's a large amount. And you would think that it would be impossible in today's standard. But you can't go back in time with today's standard in mind and think, oh, there must have been loads of people around. Because there really wasn't. Even, and then there's another one. How many went extinct because they were eaten?
Yeah.
How many were food? How many have you lost?
Yeah.
And then you survive this long throughout time with just the small clusters left. And then most of these are being caged into borders and locked into there. And then the variations are, does this really strengthen genes? And sometimes when you look out, how come you have multicultural leaders with multicultural wives from different places? What's that all about?
Yeah.
And then they're all into this strong bloodline bullshit. And again, we understand with certain breeding programs that humans are much like dogs in this aspect. You were once wolves. Interbred, 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 interbred. And then education, education. Yeah, we're doing good. And then we start to see an outcome that's very different. Have you noticed the decline in inventions and everything else is dipping?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. But what was the one thing that actually became more predominant? And that's only happened in the last 100 years, maybe even 200. But something else has happened. You all idolize your borders. And then we begin to breed with ourselves. And I understand this, that likewise, doing it all too quick, too fast, too potently, what does that do? Again, this can work in both ways. There's a balance to be had. Not too fast, not too much. And then becoming aware of it is one thing, isn't it? To be aware of this pattern. What was the one thing that tribes used to do? Which was an interesting thing. Not always were they fighting, no, but some were. What were they doing? Traveling.
Yeah.
Some go this way, some go that way.
Yeah.
Trading. And then you have this lure to exotic, don't you? Isn't there a lot of attraction is exotic, yeah? And then there's language barrier. So, now this is an interesting sort of process, wouldn't you say so? And then there has been border domination by breeding with other groups. That can knacker your gene pool out as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The information is being read. And that was a way of garnering control. If we think about it, that's what it was to do. But we've also seen a decline in a lot of strength, I would say. And then is there anything with this? You know, there's two ways to do it. Also, the wisdom chain has stopped. So we'll take the wisdom, that's declined. We've got a language barrier. We also have a national barrier put in place. And there again, how quick can you go until you reach extinction utilizing this process? And if the past wants to teach you about the future and these races, I'll draw them in red, let's say. Let's just say that they've been there, essence of them, but no longer continued. And that looks like it's been absorbed. But that leaves you with a believing in whoever stated that, and sometimes, so often than not, unprecedentedly or not. Is it because of that reason, or is it because they were killed out? Interesting, isn't it? So we see this decline. We do see a decline. Now, if you could bring back, let's say, dinosaurs for argument's sake, why would you not bring back certain bloodlines? They've not been seen for a very long time. These like a holy grail, this. And if there was some way that you could engineer this, would it be wise? Would be the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Because you would bring it back, and therefore you've added another race that hasn't been seen for a very long time.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be less evolved, more evolved? There again, in a modern body, interesting. And then is there capability to breed? And if you keep going back, wouldn't that get very interesting? Because there are certain segments inside the DNA that are not, they don't seem to fit anything. That's a very interesting thing. How far back would you go? And again, if you have multi-races, yes? And let's say these ones are current, or just roughly, doesn't really matter. But these are the ones from further back in time.
Yeah.
What happens if you bring these back and let their numbers begin to pop up? Now, is it about creating new races? Yes. But also expanding this ratio. And what happens if you start mixing a little bit of this with a bit of this? which then creates this. And then this mixes with this one, which should then create this. What happens if this directly? Are you then creating more races? To cluster up.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens if you mix these two together? After going this way, do you create another? Do you think that there's a fine ratio of expanding this number?
Yeah, probably.
There's one thing that we are seeing on the planet right now, and it's mass extinction, although you don't call it that. You'll look for environment, you'll look for this, you'll look for that, you'll look for... I don't think it's... we see it with dogs too. You're making a lot of species, a lot of breeds, but they're also very dumb. And yet, if humans were past wolves, if you want to take it, not because they were on four legs, woof woof, you know, no. In the terms of intelligence, we're past wolves. And then what? You become more obedient like dogs. And is there a way to breed that creates dumbness? That's another question. And does it come from constantly breeding? You see here, there is a catchment area, right? You have to be in the same areas where your family comes from. The council usually make this very impossible for you to move. Okay? Here, we're so controlled, it's unbelievable. It is pretty much. It's not like America where it's free. You can freedom to travel and everything else. It is and it isn't, but it is and it isn't, right? And this is related on income. Yeah. But there are far more people who are in poverty in this country, especially kids, for a technologically advanced civilization. There are more kids here in poverty, which is very interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Don't you find that incredible? So you're on par with Victorian times, so nothing has changed. In how many? Hundreds of years?
Yeah.
Oh, step up and take your rewards. Let's have a coronation or something, shall we? Because the hell is that? And then if we do it in this catchment area, when it's about affordability, what do you think a social housing program is all about? Well, here's the thing. You can pick, you used to be able to not pick an area, but you had to pick an area where your family were. Yeah. You could get put in for where your family were, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So an area where your family is, lots of poverty and everything else, yeah?
Yeah.
What's the chances of you ever being able to move away? And then we have a discrepancy in this country where certain parts of the kingdom are more richer or poorer than other aspects, yes?
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And that's an interesting thing. Now, you're stuck in this catchment area, and if your kids go to school, you stay in the area. That's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Now, what about infidelity? Is it called infidelity? Cheating?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's hidden and no one knows about it.
Yeah.
Well, then who's mapping that? And then is it done as an experiment or not? And then how big is your family per that area? And if you're no longer traveling because you've always been in the same area, is there a chance that eventually the gene pool is going to cross over eventually? Do you think so? And then no one else is allowed in to this.
Okay.
Why not? Because of race? Because this is what we are? Eventually you're going to find that this is going to start to, weaken the gene pool.
Yeah.
Unless certain levels of incest are okay. And why is incest so frowned upon? Is it because of the medical complications?
Yeah.
Is it because of the weakening of the bloodline?
Yeah, you can see it in the history.
And then with this weakening of the bloodline, by default, the ones that stand above this, which I'm going to say the gentry, by default would then begin to strengthen their bloodline because they then have money, which means what? Freedom. Freedom to what? Travel, move, go anywhere. Then if you teach your whole society to love money, get a good man with a good job with lots of income. Yeah, you should treat him mean, keep him keen. Just play hard to get. That's illegal, by the way, but, you know, that's what everyone's told. And you have money, good job, this, that, and the other. So let's have a Cinderella story, shall we? Basically, the prince gets the pick of the lot, yes?
Yeah.
Any way you want. Is this strengthening the bloodline or does it weaken it?
It's strengthening.
So everybody else is a cesspit then?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And slowly but surely you begin to weaken it.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting.
The rest stays in the pot, doesn't it?
And then this pot keeps on cooking and cooking and cooking until what? What is going to happen? I mean, what? You start to get ill? So what is the downside of incest?
Double genes.
They pass down family crests, while these ones pass down incest. Anyway, but whatever. So, double genes.
Yeah.
Double dose.
Double dose of the same disease.
Double dose of the same disease,
Yeah.
which is this will probably be, I hope I'm not hitting a nerve, this happened through your... You know someone that walked with you with
I
this.
know.
You don't need to be personal.
Yeah,
but
I know someone, but that was somewhere in the past.
somewhere in the past.
They crossed, and then those people from different families had the same gene, and
Did this cause early death?
yeah, that was unnecessary early.
So, early death, yes. E-A-R-L-Y, not sure. Anyway,
E-A-R-L-Y.
E-A-R-L-Y. Sorry, there's
Yeah.
a lot bouncing around the head, and I try and keep it in. Early death. Did this end in medical bills? Did this increase? Was there need to be treatment for this?
Yeah, in my country it was all paid for, but
Yeah. Okay, that's great
Still,
that it is
yeah.
really paid for in your nation, and we understand that the current climate is that it could, here, the NHS could fall down,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So I'm looking at it here.
yeah,
I don't want to name and shame anybody in this because it isn't nobody's fault. But however, it then creates treatments which could then profit off of private, yes?
profit of a private.
And if you notice the trend here, it's always that people pay into a tax pot and they build infrastructure and then they give it over to people. And apparently these are charities. They're not allowed to make profit, but then they are making profit, but don't put it back into the... I don't understand. They're making profit. Someone is cashing in off of this
Yeah,
somewhere
of
along the
course,
lines. So they would have found a way to rig the books.
Yeah.
I feel this in my heart of hearts that this is what people do. Not because I'm a paranoid person. It's just you wouldn't go to this much trouble to start to rig a system for people that start to wake up to you and then you want to do nothing but try and silence them. So I'm getting close to something that you're doing and you are responding to it as the pattern of behavior starts to become apparent. There is a behavioral pattern starting to show. And it can be at the cost of your bloodline. It can be at the cost of your children. It can be at the cost of your life. This seems to be escalating. So every time you get closer and closer to something, you get hit more and more and more. Therefore, that's a behavior starting to emerge. Anyway, so again, if we make the NHS and we do all of that and we build it all up, it will look like it will fall down.
Yeah.
And then all of the technology, the doctors that have been taught, all of the medical science that's been garnered over the years, who gets that? Or we're going to go and put that in a shelf somewhere in the really long filing cabinet that we have here of all the things that nearly made it. And we're funding kingdom wealth into that.
Yeah.
That was able to build a socialistic country that by and large was quite good back in the day. And now it seems to be all falling down and we seem to be the exact same places where we were in Victorian times, which is a very interesting thing. And now we're in more poverty than you've ever seen for kids. That's an interesting Now, is it because we're in poverty, or is it because the poverty is because of experimentation on keeping the gene pool,
Yeah, poverty is.
which then keeps them in a catchment area, which then means you need to pick social housing, but then you need to be around family. That's how it used to be. Yes, you can pick something else up, but people like to be around their family. Although they're separate, they like to be around their family. And people more commonly will stick around their family. Now, we don't have any records about our past. Some of the records have been lost.
Yeah.
Where did we come from? We learn more about a royal family here, and all of the ones that were up there.
Or
you don't learn
gentry.
very much about your own family bloodline. And should that be a national curriculum and put into the national curriculum to understand who your bloodlines are? However, would you make an AI database where there is a DNA database, and should it be brought into force? Because if people in your bloodline had affairs and cheated and whatnot, but it was just covered up because they couldn't get out of marriage, they couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And is there an accurate record of all of this stuff? And therefore, do we run the risk blindly of creating early death, which is very interesting? Do we need treatments?
Yeah.
And then we just so happen to create an NHS, and then it collapses, and then all the private ones would be there like, yo, we'll buy that from you.
Yeah.
So technically, it's being sold at a loss, if not given for free. I bet that stuff gets given for free, and then what are we sitting? That's a very interesting thing then. And then treatments. Does it create cognitive behavior? Does it make the brain not function correctly?
Yeah,
Can it?
Yeah, it can.
Now this is interesting. This is where it starts to really begin to become very eye-opening for me. This is a lot.
Yeah.
So we got early death. Is death profitable?
Yeah.
Do you have to pay for death?
Yeah, you have to pay for the funeral, then you pay for a grave, and
Then do you have to pay for the treatments?
you pay for the treatment. Some treatments, someone maybe don't die, but they
Will it
have,
increase mental health?
yeah, you need treatments come.
Does it increase mental health?
Yeah. Yeah.
The brain just doesn't know how to deal with certain things in a certain
Or
correct
relatives
way.
cannot, yeah, because it affects them as well. If they
Right.
live with someone who has problems like that, health problems. So yeah, on more sides than one, mental health, doesn't it?
Seems to be a lot of paying for it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then would you question anything? Would you then walk in obedience because of it?
You should question it.
Well, no one is questioning nothing because we're all of these national guilts, aren't we? Guillets, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And going up and opening things up too fast is also detrimental, and also not doing it enough is an interesting thing as well, isn't it? And then eventually, will this begin to diminish the bloodlines? Will it make birthing problems, conception problems, incompatibility? What does that then look like in terms of...
Yeah, or people in those families dying early, many of them.
And does this mean that you can catch illnesses far more easily?
Well, if you have immunity problems, yes.
That's interesting. Very interesting. The person that you know that had this, you don't need to name and shame, but did they get sick a lot? Are they always susceptible to catching shit? Colds, flu?
Not that, but problems with health overall from young age,
Interesting.
and getting worse and worse, and needing operations
And it was quite painful, wasn't it?
yeah, it was painful.
Which then needed more treatment to numb it.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely you begin to wonder if this is a great idea or not. And then slowly but surely, are you going to then need help with birthing? Factor this into contraception. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. E-numbers, genetics, different things like that are being washed through society. I mean, this is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting, isn't it? Isn't it a situation that you find yourselves in? And then do you think this degrades brain power, cognitive ability? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then what, by default? Certain individuals? And then what type of this data do they actually hold on the database? And can they look into it if they're holding it? They'll say that they don't, but that's just like most of these things say that they don't, but then they manage to build a whole weapon around my health to try and target it. Well, they shouldn't have had that information, perhaps. They should have dealt with that information a little bit more better, but they didn't. They chose not to, and they chose to weaponize it. So if they're weaponizing it there, in that front, in that aspect, then what else do they know about you? What else can they get hold of? How safe is that? And in the data where everything is being sold, what makes you tick? What makes you do this? You think that it's all about advertising. Now, you could say that that might be a good or bad thing depending on what side of the coin that you are. Some adverts are very enlightening, I'm not going to lie. Actually, yeah, this is it. Now, if that was because of something that I was already thinking about, maybe they put it there. It's very unlikely. But it then lets you know about something new, which you may not have already have known about, and it actually becomes quite a good aid to your life. That's pretty good advertising. But then what about if there is another type of data information to harvest your data?
Yeah.
And then who's going to be selling that? To who? At what price? Money makes the world go round, doesn't it? And then taking this data for what? So can anyone access a database of your data, your DNA? Because the cops take it, don't they?
Yeah.
And then at what level have you just cost the state for them to take a DNA test? And then, is there anything where they're just randomly arresting people just to take the DNA database? Then there's the prick test done when you're a baba.
Yeah.
Your heel prick.
Yeah.
And they put the blood on that chart. Can I take that and get DNA from it? At any time, whether it's dry or not?
I don't know about dry, but definitely.
So
when
dried
it's
blood,
fresh.
then that means anyone that committed a crime, if the blood dried, cops will not know what they're doing. They will not be able to take any DNA and find out whose DNA that is.
Probably.
No
yes.
breakthroughs.
I just don't know. Yeah.
Nothing like that. It hasn't advanced. Look, whose drop of blood is that? Don't know.
They definitely can get the group, and quite likely the DNA as well.
But you mean to tell me that if they found a piece of bone that goes back in time from the dinosaurs, they're thinking about bringing these back? But you mean to tell me that a drop of blood from a baby
unless
footprint
yeah. I don't know unless.
is no one is able to get hold of that? Yeah, even a fletching off of that.
Yeah. they
And
can.
depending on how much you're paid,
Yeah.
can I get hold of that? And then what do I know about you? I know a lot, don't I? I might know where you come from. I might have access to your records, find out what type of bloodline you are.
Yeah.
Do I want to breed with that or do I not? Here you are, sir. We found you all of the strongest bloods.
Yeah.
Why else are you taking it? Why else are you holding it? And then you want to sell it back to us. In a time where it seems to be lacking of affordability, those records should be given for free.
Yeah.
To the people whose they are. Don't you think? They're theirs. Interesting. And you mean to tell me that no one can then take this analytical stuff from your DNA and profile you based on it?
They can.
What defects do you... Ooh, this one's all right, isn't it? Is it about intelligence? Are you breeding for intelligence? No, because intelligence is given via wisdom. We understand this. Nikola Tesla brought a load of wisdom. These things got released after his death, yes?
Yeah.
So intelligence, wisdom is external, not internal. That is out of you.
Yeah.
But your internal capabilities, let's say, what makes you you?
Yeah.
I mean, if we were passing down in the relay baton little bits of Tesla and his knowledge passed through, then Darwin's family would be top notch by now, wouldn't they? Because they would hold this evolutional stuff, and I wonder if anyone has ever been in a strong bloodline, if they ever pondered about that, like, where did he get that from? Do they ever think about it? Do they ever play around with that theory? Because in likelihood, then Darwin's family would be really good at understanding all of this stuff. Yes, evolution and anything else. And what about Isaac Newton? We're meant to believe that crests, family crests and bloodlines are the strongest bloodlines and everything else. So why is none of this data left with the family then? Well, because then you would then need to pay them royalties. Funny word. You would then need to pay them dividends, and you would be following their family, yes? So is it about strengthening family ties by sharing this wisdom down a family? So what about Da Vinci?
Yeah.
Any of his relatives left? What about Jesus? Is there any relatives left there? Is there any bloodlines? And I always thought that once you made it then with this ideology, yes, if we can look at it that way. So what? Let's have a look at it. So the reason why certain people are council members that have stayed in the council for over and over and over and over, yes? Their family ties are littered through all the museums, irony. They stay there because of their power position, yeah?
Yeah.
Because they're wonderful people and they've been doing it for so long and you just wouldn't understand. Look at us. From one to the other, to the other, to the other.
Yeah.
But you would think then that someone like Tesla that would come with an idea, if he had any aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, whatever, grandma, granddads that ran in the family, then his family would then have to continue on with this technology, yeah? And they would still be here now, like a great big family crest. Charles Burrow would be another one, yeah? And his family would go on to revolutionize train tracks and get them on the moon and then always be paid for that over and over, but not. So these ones were what? Taken, paid for the idea at the time, and then it was given to these to continue over. Does any of that money from the museum or anything else go to the family? Or does it go to the empire? Interesting. That's very interesting. Don't you think that is fascinating? What about Da Vinci? Da Vinci, again, and even if you are paid for the moment, what is it really? You're paid for the moment, but if we're thinking about bloodlines and that there is strength bloodlines and, you know, we've got kings and kingdoms and all that other shite, and it has to be passed down because, you know, the crown is just made for you, sir. The crown has just been made for only one head, sir. The crown has just been made for your head, and it's been made for your... Why is that? And all that wealth, knowledge, toys of the nation gets passed down. It's never distributed because if since Victorian times, we're reaching into a time now where we're seeing the same thing. We're reaching to the same point now. That's interesting, yeah? So what has it benefited everybody across the lands then? Well, it did to one part because it went social, didn't it? But that was a social system. That was the system that benefited the people, not other people that benefited it. Perhaps they did by people coming together. Large amounts of people coming together. And that's a very interesting version of an empire, yes? So this one, this way, okay and good. The gentry, oh, wow, that's also very good as well, isn't it? But then the geniuses of our time, well...
That's just one time, isn't
Just
it?
one time, one payment. Once that money starts to
person
fall
and
down,
no one else.
the family is then broke. Has to go on Dragon's Den and ask them if they can have enough money for a library because they wanted to start a library. That is Darwin's, would have been this person's great-grandfather. But they were told no, which is interesting for me. A true deep thinker. Someone that contributed to society more than any of these aristocrats, barons, and dukes. Yet you pass down land masses, don't you? You're going to pass... Who are you passing Cornwall to next? Just curious, you know. And what is it actually achieving us? Nothing. Let me guess, because I got a bad mouth. No. I just want to see the logic, the difference here. to someone who wants to start a library, and that's a no. They contributed to society that every kid in this fucking world, if I believe it's in the world, is learning from Darwin. And then this gets to rub the brass, does it? Gets to rub the ones at the top. What, just for holding things? Let me guess, you made it all happen, did you? I bet they struggled to even go anywhere, didn't they? I bet they had to take an absolute fucking push to get anywhere. To even be taken serious. Or what about Tesla? Was he given all of this sort of stuff? What about Charles Burrow? Was he made to given all of this stuff? Was he helped along the way, or did you lot all hinder him because he was making you look stupid? Is that why we only hear about these afterwards?
Yeah, they do, don't they?
The Paine family, Thomas Paine, where's that? Do they hold on to something? I mean, does this improve? Does it neglect? I mean, how did you get hold of all of this money?
Yeah.
Well, because of taxes, yeah? That's where it come from, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
Taxes. So because loads of people paid you taxes, you're going to hold all of these taxes and then what? Contribute them. But you've bankrupted the country. You've bankrupted the NHS. You've bankrupted and sold the social housing. What else are you bankrupt? You've sold all of the energy companies. You've bankrupted us. Oh, but you hold the laws, but they can't be changed. Well, this is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, by that failure rate, should you even have any of that wealth? How come it didn't bankrupt your pockets? How come it accumulated and you've exploded in growth with money? How did you manage to lose all of that money in the first place? But then go and prop yourselves up inside whilst you've created companies of limited liability where you don't take no responsibility, do you? Oh my God, Pharaoh would be pissed. After all, isn't this where we took all of the empire from? Ancient Egypt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just not the responsibility. And then what is this? And then what if there was a society that was based upon this? It become accumulation. Until eventually everyone's in the pot. So what? We go from times of knowing our places, doing a great job at what we used to do. It wasn't just masons. We were all tradespeople. All of us. Every single one of us had a purpose and a family and a really good way of doing something. And then these came and took it away from us. That's interesting. And then tried to give us back a job in their company that makes them fucking rich. Come on. Whilst they harp on about bloodlines and how important that is. And that a crown is only for your head. Yeah, thieving bastards. Perhaps. Yeah, well done. We got that right. If you need a crown for that, off you go. Because that's what it is. This is theft, isn't it? How has the empire increased by much? Really? How is it? It's an interesting thing, isn't it? And then what, are we playing these games? Why? Because you write the laws, which state what? For what reason?
Yeah.
And when do we ever get a say in that? No, because every time we go to move or do something or step away from this money-grabbing machine, you rewrite the laws as quick as that to stop people from doing it. Because you don't want to adjust the system, but you want to adjust the laws instead.
Yeah. To yourselves.
Which then prevent people from doing it, because that might not be safe. That might not be... Did you know this whole fucking empire was built on lack of safety? Your wars might not be that safe. You got a law for that, have you? They might not be that safe because we might lose some of this shit. Oh, perhaps taking those rockets and putting payloads of fucking mass weapons of mass destruction on it that fuck us, the environment, everything else except for you lot. I mean, I don't think that's very safe, do you? Got a safety protocol for that? That seems like the most dangerous thing you've ever done. Fucking hell. I mean, what is that? And that's about safety. So why do we keep progressing towards more and more and more and more deadlier stuff? Why have we got tons and tons of money towards this more and more deadlier stuff? Interesting, isn't it? Whilst we harp on about strength in genes and... So, with this ratio, if for over this amount of time since Victorian time and everything else that you've created this much of a fucking nightmare, wonder what the future's going to look like. Well, the same. You'll change it, perhaps. There's no room for anybody else, is there? Unless they jump a certain way, walk a certain way. Do you want to make a song? So with that logic, a genius in the family then, if it's all about passing down titles because, you know, you just wouldn't be able to handle a crown, you wouldn't be able to handle this, you wouldn't be able to handle that. Sure. So that means to tell me that you wouldn't be able to handle Tesla's shit. You wouldn't be able to handle Charles Burrow's stuff, would you? You wouldn't be able to handle Darwin's stuff, and I think, you know, perhaps keeping that up to date. But there isn't enough money. But how come it made you fucking rich, but it skint the family down?
Yeah.
And then, is that money in the right place? Because, I mean, if their family were able to create that stuff on very little, on a fucking hard road, having all you lot tell them that they're not worthy of anything, I'm sure history hasn't changed. I'm sure it repeats quite a bit. Then what could they do with growing with that? That knowledge, what could they grow with that?
Yeah.
Could it be better? And then we find past stuff, and then it's like, oof, is this getting a bit old? But what could they do? And if it's all about bloodline and the line that carries from one to the other, then would these not be able to carry it through and strengthen it?
Yeah.
So why are they then not worthy? Drop down to broke? What is that all about? Well, because they couldn't hold on to the money very well. I suppose with you thieving bastards around, it would be very difficult to hold on to anything, really, wouldn't it? And if we stagnate, what? Well, we'll only have ourselves to blame, won't we? And what do we plan on spending all this money on, really? What are we doing with it? And then how many do we lose in that? It's a very interesting thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you find it very interesting?
Yeah, I do.
And then wouldn't you believe all of the things that were built under socialism weren't doing enough, so let's start making illnesses and... I mean, are you ever going to be truthful about anything that's fucking up in the nation? Are you ever going to come out and say it, or are you going to be too fearful that it might cause unrest? It's going to create something. It's going to cause too much. We'll lose what we got. Really? I don't know. I think order is natural, and I think someone is putting too much emphasis on that you've created the order. Shit, did that apply to stars? What came first, the human or the star? Because with this logic, didn't you? You must have. And is it good? Is it bad? Is it being looked at? Is it being protected? Well, I mean, we did let global warming run away with us, didn't we?
Yes.
And we knew that fucker was coming. The scientists kept saying something about it, didn't they? Unless it's all bullshit. You can't have solar panels because that wouldn't be safe. Said the corporation that fucked the planet up in the first place. That are allowed to have solar panels. I think this wouldn't be very safe in your hands.
And it's not.
Says the corporation that plays around with food, fucks around with light. I don't know if this is really going to be good in your hands, really. Safe. Fucking safe. As shit, if these things would have been used properly in the beginning, we wouldn't be in any of these situations, would we? It's an interesting thing, really, wouldn't it? We'd have much more less to deal with, much more better things to be getting on with. Anyway, perhaps we don't make ideal worlds, but even still, if you had a lot of resources, I don't know, it starts off very basic. You start off with an Earth, yes? Very limited, very this, very that. And you all come together and whoosh, up to the stars you go. Then perhaps you might start finding moons and perhaps some old junk here and there. Then you begin to accumulate a little bit more. Would you bring it to the Earth? Probably, probably not. What else could you do with it? Could you transfer something and make a better Earth? Could you? That's an interesting thing. Can you evolve some shit over there? Genetically modify some shit over there, which is very good, right? Perhaps not crossing them.
Yeah.
You don't want one to wipe out the other now, do you? Safety. These become your little project. And if it works, it's good. And if it doesn't, you'll have to evolve again. One where you keep it natural. One where you prune it off. The other one where you have this. One where there's a mix of everything. That'd be interesting. Now, would you bring back life forms? And would you make life forms? You know, playing around with the species, cross them over a little bit more so. It's part this, part that. Well, that's an interesting concoction, but you know, in for a penny, in for a pound, I suppose. Then you begin to play around with this. Now, what happens if you find other life? What happens if you start playing around with the building blocks? You go back far enough and you'll understand how life came to be. Chase it backwards a little bit. Now, with those same ingredients that have evolved X amount of time, and the new variables that you're finding all of the time, and melting from the ice, and we're all like, oh my god, yeah, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Oh shit, it's really bad, right? But it's also really good. You were here because of the same process, and... A humanoid dinosaur. It sounds interesting, doesn't it? But eventually, won't it go there?
Maybe, yeah.
And if it goes really well, what type of variable is that? That's another race, yeah?
Yeah.
Then you're adding more. What happens if you find other life elsewhere? You know, primitive, but still life nonetheless. You start to build up a database, and you're like, hang on a minute. What happens if, can we cross this? What happens if we make this from the building? Can we bind this? Can we take it away?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you do it on your own planet, though? That's another question entirely. Be a bit risky, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just in case it leeches all you out.
Yeah.
It can also strengthen, can't it? These are the questions that you need to ask. You seem to be good at God's work, then off you go. Chop chop, move on. Do it. You make another planet? Would you make one that's more balanced, or would you be on all of this change? Weather, when you talk about that.
Yeah.
You find something that is more natural, optimization for nature.
Mm-hmm.
Something that pushes it on the extremes. Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what the taste would be then. Do you think it would be different? Nature that's extremed and stressed, do you think it will give a good yield? Nature that works in its optimal operating capacity, its most optimal. You know, here it just settles. What does nature really require? I don't know. It's going to revolve either way into it. It's there. It's just settling at the moment on the earth. It settles for this. What is it? Its greatest way of living. And then, how does that reflect in vitamins, fruit, minerals? What happens if you eat that, and some people eat this, and some people eat that? Is there a difference in the taste? Is there a difference in you? So we understand that when we put humans through stress, it doesn't always work very well, does it?
No. It doesn't.
What do you think they taste like? Well, you can see what happens in people, can't you? It ages them, it creates greying in the hair, it does this, it does that. That's an interesting... A stress.
Yeah.
So it can age you faster, it can... too much stress for long periods of time can also cause defects.
Yeah.
Could you imagine anything that were to eat that? You would think that was good? Or would you like a nice, lovely, strong bloodline to nibble on? Assuming that you were... Just got a role reverse, okay? Mm-hmm. Just assume that animals eat humans. Which ones do you reckon they will taste nicer? The ones under the stress? The ones with the diseases? The one with the chemical base? No, probably not. Or these ones? These pure, organic humans? Which ones would you want? The organic or the everyday basics?
Organic is better, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, it might be shriveled and misshapen, so I don't know.
Not you. Hey, wait a minute, what are you saying? I'm fucking Gentry, come back here. You're wrong. It's all your psychology. You didn't pass the sniff test, I'm sorry. Next, you? Oh. Be like Jeepers Creepers, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Give that a good sniff. Oh my God, you are. I love you for Christmas. And if you're lucky, New Year as well. Anyway, that's very vulgar, you know. You would hope that wouldn't happen. If you could clone safely enough and it wouldn't hurt and regenerate, we've got to ask this question as well. If you could regenerate your limbs, and we're not talking about a few, that's the problem that you'll have to start with. It won't be perfect. You'll only be able to get so many from it. But you'll engineer that better to understand what it's requiring and what is lacking. And then it becomes unlimited depending on what you're putting back in. You see, this would evolve your understanding. You see, because you'll be like, oh, it won't work. Yeah, okay, let's go sit down. Shall we go back to being primates, if you believe such a thing? Shall we go back to lizards and shit? Why? Well, you know, this ain't gonna work. We should walk away and give up disbelief as a strong thing here. Shall we just go back? We might as well do nothing then. Not even try, not even look, you know? Or do you give it a go, and then you're like, hang on a minute, think, whoa, there's a little bit here. Okay, there's a little bit over here. Okay, we can build this here. Oh, it's diminishing this. If we replace that, okay, no, that doesn't work. But if you keep going with that type of process, you slowly but surely fail an awful lot, sure, but you get successful at it. And in where you could only make 4 clones, you can now make 10 clones and maybe 50 clones until you can do it at will, but you need to put into something in order to get something out. That's usually the way it works.
Yeah.
But if you could do this and you get better at it for a limb, would you eat yourself? If you could, let's just imagine in some sort of science fiction. I know you rub your head because it's a fucking weird question, but it's a question that I want to ask anyway.
Yeah.
If you could cut off your leg,
Yeah.
chop it off and another one starts to grow. You know, I was getting tired of this one anyway. Shink. Would you have roast leg?
You could have roast leg, but in a way you wasted the energy it grew because now you need energy to grow a new one.
Yeah, this makes sense. I appreciate that. I'm just asking, would you eat it?
I don't know.
Okay, so you would say no.
Yeah.
Now move it on to something else.
Yeah.
What if you could slice a piece of fruit
Yeah.
and it will begin to regenerate, and then you slice the other side and then it regenerates this way?
Yeah.
It's like a constant fruiting. Would you do that?
Yeah.
Would you eat it? That'd be interesting. You'll say they needed energy, yeah?
Yeah.
But so would you. So, okay, so we wouldn't do it to ourselves. Okay, what about if one of your clones, you know,
Eat your clone.
your clone is getting a little bit, and he's retiring. You need to go on clone number 2 and start pushing out a new youngster. And then the youngster is like, I'm going to miss the older Terry. And then it puts on a napkin, takes out a knife and fork. Oh, it's really young age. This is going to be... It's going to feed me nutrients. Hey, little fucker. Because you're going to obviously retire in this way, right? There's no point keeping that fucking thing bad boy for eternity. Unless you're into mummification. I don't know. You're...
Maybe you are.
Just this one. I told you, you got to get rid of that old clone. It's starting to smell. It's really concerning. I mean, where did you learn this behavior, you little shit? I'm gonna make sense of a dollar. It's a puppy. But you are this. I know. I just want to be funny. Watch this. Look, I'm like the old humans. I've made a puppet person. Sorry. Does it feel good to be gentry? Yeah, it actually does. I mean, it's pretty morbid, but even still, you would find a funnier side to this. Would you get a sense of humour with it?
Yeah.
If you knew death wasn't possible. Not in this aspect. Well, I suppose I got all of these 10 clones to go. What are you going to do with them? Should we throw them out the ship? Nah, let's eat it. Let's absorb the nutrients. I got a funny feeling that the body knows the body really well. In the beginning, it's probably going to be like, probably not. Oh no, one of the farms went down. What are we going to do? It's all right, we got the clones. That'll keep us going for a... Well, if we balance it right, we could get it like this. We only produced 1 clone per the last 10 that we had. We put the rest on ice. Where did you learn this? It's from this medieval plague doctor book. They used to freeze things, apparently. A refrigerator? We don't even use these words anymore. What the hell is that? It's like finding a forgotten Greek language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aztec? It's like me trying to pronounce Latin plant names.
Yeah.
Nope. Just going to draw a symbol instead. That was far more simpler. How do you say it? You don't. You just look at it. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, exactly. It's that one. There you are. Anyway, sort of thing. So would you eat that? Yourself? You would say no. But you would do it to another plant, though, yes? A plant? Another species?
Yeah, that's another plant. It's
Now,
not.
that is interesting.
It's not like eating energy and then chopping it off and then needed it again. That's why we eat, isn't
You
it?
want a leg of lamb? I'm thinking about a leg of lamb. Look, we can't even call it hoppy because it's floating around in space. You're not going to need this, are you? We'll make sure it's painless. You are. What's that? Oh, it's going to grow back another one. It is? Yeah. We'll just have to wait until this one's next season before it's grown that back, and then we'll probably do it to the other leg. It would be a fucked up way of doing farming, wouldn't it? You would have to start questioning God's practices, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We'll just eat nature instead. I don't understand. It's still alive. So we go from eating meat where we can regenerate it, and you want to eat a plant's baby? Don't do that. I know. Probably, look away, The seeds? Oh, well, I suppose we crack open eggs. So, yeah, go on. Fuck it. Why not? That's an interesting thing, isn't it? Would you eat eggs, don't you?
Yeah.
Fascinating. So would all food be on the menu then? See, it's a weird question to ask, this side of it. Could you imagine cloning already being a thing?
Yeah.
For a second?
Mm-hmm.
And now if I say that same thing, does it sound as bad? Or you're going to grind it up and make it for animal food?
Not as bad, but
What are you going to do with it? We're just going to chuck it out the ship? It'll be like a balloon, yeah? Where you just let go of air each time. And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Let's hope you found another star system by then, set up camp, and already got that.
Mm-hmm.
Air food is an issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that it will become better, that you will find a better way of taking food? Maximum energy, minimal waste. And do you think we waste more food than we actually absorb?
yeah,
Fully.
and we waste many foods that we don't even absorb.
Well, let's hope evolution's going that way with the stomach and it's going to be able to absorb a lot of stuff. Let's hope ET is vegan, vegetarian, vegetarian.
Yeah.
And let's hope they're not fucking hungry.
Maybe it's Hungarian instead of vegetarian.
Fungarian.
Yeah.
Let's hope they're algae lickers. Can I interest you? We got a big problem with this here. Did you want some soup? God, these humans are very kind, aren't they? That's pretty good. So a food source would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a morbid question, isn't it? But you rely on it.
Yeah.
Nope, still like the other way of doing it, decompression, making these things go back into a gas, all the way back to hydrogen, and then build it back up for the plants to take in. And I think that's probably a better way. It deals with methane as well, doesn't it? It may enable to stretch that back and shove the process forwards, if it's possible. But it drives the need for these things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think humanity is moving that way?
Yeah.
Look at this. Wait, I gave you this. I know, I just made a decompression bomb. Okay. Now I'm going to show the world Ma! And you say, I have problems. Why, what are you thinking about? Murdering as many people as possible by the press of one button.
Yeah.
You got to be the right sort of person to enter into power. I think you have. Some people are actually claiming proud to say that on TV. I'm like, wait, what did I just hear? I will do it. I will. I might. What's your ask? Fair enough. I understand the current climate.
Yeah.
Shit me. What do you think you go through your heads at the last moment of that? It would be, you'd have to say something funny.
Yeah.
Good riddance to all of us. Would it be, may God be with us all? What would you actually say? I mean, it doesn't make it very safe, does it? Mm-hmm. Fucking hell, talk about strengthening the gene pool and then end up weakening the gene pool and then you go extinct. I mean...
Yeah, we're doing everything we can for that, don't we? We do. Anyway. But yeah, resurrection. Life, death, we've been full circle in this one, haven't we? Cannibalistic, yes. Realistic, be realistic. Well, fuck me, let's hope that we don't, right? If we leave space and we go out into space and we find other life forms on a planet, how many people are going to be looking at that thinking, I wonder what it tastes like. I really want to eat some. Right. It's less cannibal than we have been doing, I suppose. If we all evolved on this planet together, we're all eating each other, technically. Okay, Terry. I know, it's funny, but still. You want to eat this? Another part of the group is like, you see those humanoid ones? Yeah, they're the ones I want to eat. I want to breed with them. Right, how long have you guys been holding this in for? Well, since we left the last planet that we were at. Since we ate all those inhabitants.
Psychologists, come here. How do we factor this psychology in? They only see it 5 minutes ago. That was 5 minutes worth of sociology, and good luck. Here's a crochet hook. Go in and pick that. Oh, and here's another one. What's that for? Go in and pick his. And then in my mind, it starts saying, that's not a bad idea. But would you? Would you eat it? Would you eat it? Well, it looks like nature. Smells like it too. This one looks like a pig, shall we? Hot dogs, anyone? What does it taste like? Well, you guys are eating it already? Yes, we are. Oh, fuck me, don't wait, will you? Do you want some? Well, it actually smells pretty good. What does it taste like? Well, it's a bit like, chickeny, beefy, cowy, sort of piggy, wormy. You've eaten worms? Don't ask. Anti-type of... Do you know what? It's like nothing you've ever tasted, but everything you've tasted. Okay, fair enough. It's like eating life. Fucking dickhead. Here it is a little bit. It's mustardy, vinegary, sort of something or othery. And then how's it going to make you feel afterwards? Yeah, that's going to be something else. Life supports life. Is brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, cannibalistic god somewhere? I mean, how the fuck did you think this shit up? And then evolution is like, hey, how's my fault? Just doing the best I can with all the tools I had. Alright then. You know, with this whole God made me in his own image, I'm starting to get a little concerned. You don't salt and pepper me before heaven, do you? While I'm waiting in purgatory? What's this for? Just nothing.
That is powder, and that is deodorant.
Here comes the delousing. Alright, started profiling God. Am I allowed? I don't know what is so funny, because you never thought about it. And I'm not taking the mickey, I'm being deadly serious here.
Yeah, deadly serious and dancing like a puppet, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, because like the gentry puppet. They like people as puppets, yeah?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's still 100% true. Billionaires instead! No, I'm just kidding. I just watch too many TVs where you're just guys that are so evil.
Yeah.
So, self-employed people still good? Oh no, cowboys. I forgot.
No, no, they're still good? Yeah, they're not exactly Scrooge McDuck. Okay, good, good, wonderful. Ah, you got to have a little bit of fun with this, ain't you? Maybe. Ah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was that? Oh, yes, profiling God. Well, heaven's going to be fun. I think I'd rather fit in. But which part are we? Are we food? Just intelligent food? It's not tribal, is it? Where they would eat the other. I don't even know why I'm shouting.
Yeah, me neither.
Please say you like this one. Please say you like this one. Please say you like this one. I could be a jester. And what's so funny too? Anyway, yeah, make a do with a bad situation. Quality questions though, are they? Or are they not? I would need to know those questions, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Life is a test. You don't say. Starvation, or do we suckle on mum for the whole life? Yeah, I know, it's terrible, but still, you know. Yeah, interesting. Which, that is cannibalism, isn't it?
Suckling on... No, that is not cannibalism.
That's not cannibalism to
That's
take
made-
a load of breast milk.
That's made for that.
Okay, it's made for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and the whole cloning, regenerating an arm? That's made for it.
Chopping arms is not made for it to eat.
But it could be.
Could be, but it's not.
Hey, I'm just following what birth is already doing, right?
Yeah.
Or do we just stay attached to the umbilical all the time? These would be great reigns, wouldn't they? Can't go too far from... No, come on, eat, because I'm hungry. Do you think it would feed still? You mean to tell me that there wasn't any tribe anywhere that were like, maybe we should leave those attached? So they just rot away anyway. But even still, you know, out comes this. What's this? This was the parachute? It didn't deploy very well, did it? Think bungee. But anyway, still, that's an interesting thing. And then what? To take the milk is not cannibalism.
No.
What do you call it then?
Feeding the baby.
Drinkalism. Yeah, it's feeding the baby,
Yeah.
utilizing stuff from mum.
What you ate yourself, it's changed into the milk for the baby.
Now, did I get smacked too much, or is it not enough breast milk? Either or.
Yeah, a little bit of each.
Thank you. I needed that. It made me feel a lot better. Nostalgic. Anyway, so that is just because it's made for that way, then that's all good, yeah? So how long do you reckon you could go on sustaining drinking that?
I have no idea.
No idea. That's interesting. And then do you think it's possible to make a liquid, sounds terrible, of similar nature, synthetic,
I thought people did.
as a food source? Now, would you develop teeth with that?
Ask the teeth.
Well, it's just a
I
question.
think so, yeah.
Would be known as gummies. So do you think E.T. has teeth?
E.T., do you have teeth? He didn't say.
No, we're sucklers. Okay, alright, fair enough.
We have big mouth.
These are interesting questions, aren't they? Do you think they had teeth?
Probably.
But it depends what they eat.
Teeth or the stuff that birds have. I don't know how it's called.
A bill.
Not a bill. They have sharp things inside that are not teeth.
Serrated, aren't they?
Serrated, yeah.
I don't know if that's
Serrations.
right, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
on about like...
Yeah, serrations instead of teeth, something.
Actually might not be a bad thing. Never see you with a toothpaste in your mouth and a toothbrush. How'd you hold on to these so well? Next generation. Now that would be awesome, wouldn't it? There would be less problems than you got with the old teeth, haven't you? So hopefully those evolve in space. And there again, I'll give you an indication. So that's not cannibalism because it is breast milk is given this way. Okay? So eating other species on your planet is also not cannibalism.
No, that's not cannibalism. It's different species. Cannibalism refers directly to the same species.
So what happens if you find a planet of animals then?
Then you are carnivore, aren't you?
Yes, carnivore, but
Yeah.
still.
You are not cannibal, you are carnivore.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Eating meat.
Hmm.
The humans are omnivores, they eat.
If the Egyptian
More
pictures are anything to go on, that would be some interesting laugh riot there. The ancient Egyptians, yes? Because that was all different. What were you guys up to? It's interesting, but what would you... It's a real mosh up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Elongated skulls. Do you think this affects the outcome of the body? I know it does visibly, but does it do anything internally?
To the structure?
To the chains.
Yeah. I don't know that.
Do you think this is altered by certain levels of experiences, atmosphere, pressure? Because you begin to evolve, don't you? This helps you evolve, doesn't it? And the wisdom comes from outside of you, which you pass down. And you can pass this to anyone. It seems to be pretty much passed down to anyone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it or doesn't it? Or is it just after a certain amount of leaching the bloodstream, does that actually work in? Or and could you imagine a world that was built around this process to be able to continue this process? And what could it build into that sort of mindset? So yeah, grabbing resources to create another planet with a lot of this in. Would you create your own and get to watch it, see it, teach it? I mean, you wouldn't need to enslave anything like that because, well, that would become a thing into the history books. Would you keep going with that? Because once you start to learn it, you begin to make more life forms. Now I got another question. This is an interesting question, yeah? What happens if you break away from the planet and lo and behold, a massive disaster just as you break away from the planet happens with some trace amounts of life left on it? And something disastrous happens to the point where it's like, well, it's all dead now. So you think, and then you leave. But then you come back after a certain amount of time of devouring and whatever else you're doing and learning and studying. But when you do, the life has evolved. The remnants have evolved into something. Because that will then tell you that subject to X amount of years in different shapes and formats, that when an event happens, that these strands, so to speak, or blocks with more information to do, build together. And what sort of a process is that? That's already happened on the planet multiple times. Now, what happens if you could artificially do that? What happens if you repeat it and break the experiment down? So if you could, you had 5 herbs, just waste around, you know, after building everything else for your colonies, and then you get to really walk like King Cox, all of you, and queens, whatever. And you had 5 herbs in each one with remnants on it, building blocks, and then you're going to subject them to each different disaster with a bunch of different meteorites. Some are going to be really compact, some are going to half kill it, some are going to kill most of it. Anyway, it's all going to create these extinction events, and it's going to change the makeup. And then if you play around with the gases on each one, so the one is currently how Earth is now. Another one is going to be tweaked to evolve into this, which you would understand that it would adapt slowly. Some life forms will, some won't. But if you can change each one of these planets, 5 different variations, and you subject it to each the same life, give or take, to different impacts that then will create something. This one might go this way, create it to become intensely hot, and then it will cool down, and maybe it doesn't kill everything. This one perhaps just goes really cold, deep freeze, extinction. This one splits it apart and brings it back together, and wow, there's a lot of shit going on inside there. All of these different extremities. Do you think the life will evolve the same way on every planet? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? And then how would it grow? How would it evolve? And if you could take it with you, well, yeah, wrap it up in some sort of darkness so it appears like there's loads of stars. And It's going to be primitive, but it's going to catch up and it's going to get intelligent very quickly. That's what I predict. I predict the life will surpass you very quickly. Unless they decide to start dumbing one another down. Although, who is learning this? Have you been taught to do this? You see, because you question it, don't you? Where did this come from to do this? Because accidentally on purpose, deliberately, because it looks good in contrast. We're just keeping the seat warm for something else. Something else come through you and did this. Because, and then what, we become and accept this to be normal going forwards? That's a fucked up thing to do, isn't it? It seems like interterrestrial, extraterrestrial in nature. Shit me. If I was ET, the best way to ever do anything to life forms would be to get them to believe. And therefore, we are susceptible to belief systems, and you go quite far back into the past, and a lot of this shit, where's it all come from? That we've based most of this shit on. Because we're taking little bits here. But do we know what we're taking? That's the thing. Do we ever look at that and think, should we start again? And then everybody copies this, so it's almost like we're in this together. Yeah, quite rightly so. And then you can't step away from it, but why not? Who said? Well, God might be angry, okay. There's God, okay, I understand that. Okay, well, what about E.T.? Interesting. Very interesting. And there again, if this life forms began to evolve on these 5 planets that you've made, and you've just changed a little bit of life here, a little bit over there, a little bit over here. It starts to grow up, it starts to expand and change slightly. You play around with the gases, maybe. Bend them. Adding a little bit over this much time. How much can it take before it starts buckling out? I'm going to take it just to the verge of that, which you would call stress, and then annihilate it. That's a completely different composition, depending on what that asteroid is. Now take your pick, because it's like a lucky dip. You don't know what you're going to get. There's more than a box of chocolates. I need Forrest Gump here. That would be a good way to explain it. This meteorite's going to be a little bit more like this. This one's going to be a little bit more like this. Unless all of these trimesters of Earth, a bit like the trimester of humans, trimester of your whole species... Do you think each one of those meteorite impacts, assuming that it was a meteorite impact, were all identical? Those mass extinction events, were they all the same? No, because one was what? Gamma ray, another one was this, another one was that. Perhaps it was a meteorite, could have been a great flood, could have been all of these weird and wonderful things. But life bounced back more and more intelligent each time. Even more so. From primitive to intelligence to more intelligent to more intelligent to more intelligent. And then... that would be a process that in these 5 planets, and then you would be able to speed it up. That would be fascinating. But you'd be like, it's impossible. No, you can speed it up. How do you speed it up? Well, you kickstart it. You rig it to be more intelligent. What happens if we find this life over here? None of us want to do anything with it. We don't know what it's going to do. But if we had one of these 5 planets and we put it in there, then give it an impact, that stuff has never been seen before. Does it bind with it? If it does, and then you learn how to speed it up. The more you do, the more processes you do with this. And then if you do 5 times, can you do it 10 times? Then would it be like, shit, we need more resources. What for? This experiment is fucked up. And then, here's something. If it gets really intelligent, and just by breeding with it, which would then be attachment through love, bondage, and everything else, yes? Because love is powerful. And it has to be genuine. You're going to sort of creep up and mosey on them. Now, if they do learn a language, but you've kind of taught them it by kickstarting it. Remember, you go down and put a load of objects down there. Maybe they can't talk a word of shit that you understand, and you don't understand a word of shit or what they're saying, yeah? But you go down and do something. The guaranteed language is imagery, acting in front of them. They're going to copy it, mimic it, maybe not understand it straight away. But someone's going to see that and be like, yes, I want to do this too. Look at the way that one walked up those stairs. They wouldn't call them stairs, but they might start to build things that resemble it. And begin to copy. If it's intelligent, it will. It's going to definitely mimic. And you subtly influence it over the time. Is that spooky? Could it have been done to you? Maybe it has. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe you'll do this. Maybe you won't. Maybe you won't make it because you'll go extinct. Who cares? Anyway, but if it does, it's already out there. And just in case you're an eating god, I don't know about that. I think I just want to, say my piece now. Maybe tomorrow. You play around with all of this, the life begins to get really, really intelligent on certain ones, yes? And you find out that it's very humanoid because you rig it to become humanoid. A lot of your factor is going into that. Which then makes it compatibility for you to breed with it. If you do you get those capabilities too in your next generation? And not only do you get the capabilities, but you also get the wisdom that goes with it. Whether willing or unwillingly. Now here's a cup. No, just kidding. Right? What do you know? Well, you would watch. And therefore, time. E.T. being intelligent, it would be way intelligent than you are. And let's hope that you become the ones that are way intelligent. But there again, complacency never get you there, and then aliens will never come and find you. Well, it depends on how good and how desperate they become for looking for more life fragments. And it depends on what they prioritize with that. Could you, right now, with all of the shit that you have currently, could you rig a whole universe like the Truman fucking Show on steroids, but verse planet? Surveil it. Could you make a surveillance planet? Yes, you could. You absolutely could. Satellites, different things like that. Beam it down, up, down. We'll get all the data. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Would you watch it? It'd be like Big Brother on steroids, wouldn't it? But with a planet and unsuspecting life forms. Would you? I would. I fucking would. You'd have the upper hand every single time. And you guys love to play chess with your own people. I wonder if that's even being done to you lot. And do they have their favorites? And are their favorites do they look at the most weakest life form ever and try and dress it up like a Christmas tree and guarantee it to win? Because there would be a lot of odds on bets, and assuming that they bet, and depending on what they bet on, they would stack the deck on that. That would have to win. Why? Well, because everyone betted that it wouldn't. That'd be a hell of a winning, wouldn't it? That's like a winner for a winner. I had a chicken dinner. Do you eat chicken? Not into humans, are you? But you have to ask yourself whether you would be into other life forms. How many people on the planet will be like, yeah, and then they're like, shit, let's make them vegan. Fuck. I've never seen vegans so popular, you know? We eat this stuff. You already are traversing into space. It's taken a long time, yes, but that's because technology's there. But what if you left now? Do you reckon you could lap Voyager? Do you reckon there's anything that they could do with current technology that will then begin gaining on Voyager? Yeah. Even though it's traveling at the same speed. And then they surpass Voyager.
Yeah, one day they will.
Now that would be a funny fucking thing to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That you would take a picture of Voyager, looking back, taking a picture. That's if it has enough power to do so. And then I'd ask another question. Could you get it to go side by side with Voyager and send it a power source? I mean, that would be a challenge and a fucking half, wouldn't it? It would be a hell of a challenge just to charge it up with a bit more. But would you need to? Find a way to attach a robot to it? I don't know if it would be robot would be a correct thing to say. But something that was capable of tapping into its power source and plugging it up to another X amount of years worth of traveling. That would be interesting. And then find the nearest object, if there is any, assuming that there might be. And then orbit off, and then you go off in a different direction and Voyager goes off in that way. I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Could you bring back the golden plate? I mean, that would be even more fascinating, wouldn't it? And then take a picture surpassing Voyager. That would never have been thought of, would it? Anyone would be like, wait, hold on a minute, what did you do? Oh, we lapped Voyager. You did? Yeah, we also took a picture of it. Now, come on, ladies and gentlemen, neither one of these is better or weaker than the other. Why is that? Because we actually sent a probe to Voyager and we gave it more power. So that makes them both very good. I mean, we take even more pictures. What do you reckon? Be a bit dark, but still. And then we can get a true constellation with our star in it. How do we look? Wouldn't that be an interesting thing to understand? Would you like to know that? How the star looks from that perspective with all the other stars. Wow, oh, okay. Orion looks like this. Holy shit, some of the pyramids here were... Wait, what? I mean, that would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? Would you play chess with people? Other species on a particular unsuspecting planet? Well, I don't know, man. It's very eerie when you start to deeply dive into this sort of stuff. Really deep. Sit with it and go into it. If you can do it, wait, is it being done? Or could it be done? And there again, if you did manage to catch up with Voyager, the reason why I said that was because if you could do it, you would show that you have leaped.
Yeah.
And the understanding has leaped. Shit me, just surpassing it and taking a picture of it. I mean, that would be a hell of a fucking seller, that would. That would spark something up, wouldn't it? Or you start to gain on it. Oh my days, that would be impressive. And then you would understand that that has already surpassed in speed. By this time, you should be able to get it dance around the sun a few times and Jupiter, miss the Earth narrowly, and then bugger off that way. There's a lot of force there. Current technology, or even if it begins to catch up on it, maybe not done in our lifetime, but in a future lifetime, that would become something that would, and then that would really set the narrative inside their minds that space is a bit like previously sailing. You sailed and it took a long time, and then you got faster, and there is more here to get bombarded with. Yeah, there is in space, I understand, but there's less than that than there is in here. Molecules, so to speak. But there again, gas cloud. Either or. There is a limit to how fast you can go. I'm pretty sure of that. Working out the gravitational pull as well. If anything understands that. Folding space. Bending space, is it? Folding space? Wormholes, that's another one. If you actually believe in any of these things, and you've created theories, and these are current knowledge, then what if anything intelligent more so than you, and has found out a way of increasing intelligence as opposed to depleting it in this way? And let's hope they don't do what you do with this. And if this is accidental, and I will use that word very lightly, because in some understanding, I don't think it is. What if something else is then doing it to you? I mean, that would be a weird manifestation, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking spooky as. Which then keeps us grounded here, but for what reason? Anyway, I should really leave this one here, but there again, you would gather more resources to then expand what you are, change it, evolve it. If it becomes nature and it's a food supply and it evolves in this way after an extinction event, who knows? And is it technically an extinction event or more of a dormant and then a changed event, which is a bit like the butterfly, isn't it? The transformation of the butterfly. Yeah, same way, really, isn't it? It liquidizes, doesn't it? In the chrysalis. Well, it's just fascinating. I have heard some individuals talk about this, and I would love the chrysalis back at Griffey as well, and many other different times, because they seem to choose certain things that I bring in seasonally, and they're often on there. You get to sit with those. Anyway, so liquefying. It's a bit like the Earth, really, isn't it? Wow, all of this stuff all fits one to the other. You can liquefy all of that shit, and all binds together called life, and then it... whoosh. Each time it seems to be getting more and more intelligent. Yes, a lot of it is collapsed in the process. Could you imagine resurrecting all of that stuff? And then what does that look like with food? Being able to test it. Is it edible? Yes, it is. Fucking hell, it's really compatible. Shit me, we got the receptors for this. Okay, that fills the blank with... I mean, it expands what you are. And then that would leave the question that once you went back as far as you could, can we go forwards too? That's very interesting. And if you could go forwards, at which way could you change all of this? And then that might make you start thinking about life as this little resilient, so resilient that it just doesn't give up, because that by its design, that's what it's to do. And then it might make you understand that it's impossible to kill it. With that type of logic, how ancient is this stuff? What was really primitive? This cycle, last cycle, a cycle before? How long has it been in existence for? Each time binding together in the right conditions. Yeah, that's fucking interesting. Very spooky there, isn't it? And then, is it on its own, or are there multiple life strands about with the intention to bind together? Fascinating. After all, why are you here? No idea. To run away from extinction? I think so, to fight it. Same eyes, same ears. Well, do what you need to do, whatever makes you sleep better at night, I suppose, but, you know. This makes me sleep wonderfully, by the way. I love to dream about this shit. Do you? Do you just go all out? You might as well, you're going to dream anyway. And if you can sort of set the stage for your dream, you might as well go into this stuff. Yeah, it becomes more and more variations. It feels kind of real, though. That's the thing. Is lucid? I think is the right word. Is it lucid?
dream,
Maybe.
yeah.
I try and retain as much as possible and tell you about it the next day, but not always does that work. Then you just go on that. This is kind of like a dream state right now, by the way. Not gonna lie, this feels like it. Deja vu is another way to explain that. Do what you want with it. Take it, leave it. God, this has been a whole mix. I enjoy these videos that bounce all over the place like this. I don't even think I made my point, but going backwards in order to save the future, do you think it would even happen? And the multiple different variations, and at what level do we see it before it starts devouring itself, where it becomes no longer compatible? It starts to become incompatible. And then do we need to become more aware of that as the advancements are being made? Do we need to adjust to align with that in order to sort that out? And in making stronger, do we start to see a rise of a lot of... And then what's being bred out and what's trying to be bred in? That's interesting. And this force seems to be very free, doesn't it? Where it bounces in and out of. Interesting. Right, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there because it's probably been 2 hours, I don't know.